everybody, Scott here again. I just got out of seeing a ghost story. There's a bit of a story on this one. That's what alerted us to a ghost story. This issue of Cineplex magazine from July 2017. It's a Canadian one with our theaters up here. That's the Spirit. Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. I wouldn't even realize that was her. Shauna and I had seen Manchester by the Sea. You know my feelings on that movie. I do not like it. This also stars Casey Affleck. It's kind of his follow-up to Manchester by the Sea. And it even says here, there'll be plenty of people who call it pretentious, plenty more who walk out at a very specific point about 20 minutes in, and others who will shrug it off, for whom there will be nothing here nor there. Some people will love it, and I'm excited for them to discover it. So, that we were like, alright, bring the pretentiousness on. It's about a guy who dies and he's in a sheet. It's the ghost, the classic look. And they try to play that serious, which is a fine challenge. I'm okay with that. The movie was atrocious. It was so bad because it was so boring. I could spoil it all for you and it still wouldn't get the point across of it. The point they're talking about is not some kind of shocking, oh God, you went there moment. It's just the pretentiousness continues. There's a shot from outside the house. And the person walks out, puts the thing down, and then walks back in. And then holds that shot for probably a minute. People will exaggerate, 5 minutes. No, it was about a minute. Maybe, if even that. And I get the idea of that because the idea is this is a ghost story where it's a haunting. And it's the story of the ghost who haunts the location. Normally you see the family encounters the ghost. This is the story of the ghost who's haunting it. How intended that is, or not intended and such. And it's kind of clever in how it does things like that. It does work. I like the concept, but as I said, it works better as maybe a comic book or a graphic novel, where you can go at a better pace. Because I don't need to see someone eat pie for 5 to 10 minutes to understand that it's all they know, it's their grief, it's all they can do. You can get that across in 2, maybe 3. You don't need 10. Because literally, the point they're talking about is after the guy's died, and the ghost is there. We're facing the kitchen. And the woman comes in, puts her stuff down, and just takes a fork to the pie. Eats a bite. Has another. Has another. And gets up to 6. Finally takes it, sits down with a big sniffle. You can see the ghost in the background. Has another. Another. Eats half of that goddamn pie. And it's real time. It's just a woman sitting there eating pie on the floor. Now, like I said, the idea of you can't escape it. You can't move on. Like life moves beyond you. The moment when he's dead, in the morgue, and the sheets on him, just sits there. You hear like a janitor in the background and hospital noises and stuff, and it's fine because that's the idea. Life goes on. It doesn't care. I've been there. Okay, when my mom died, I felt like the world should stop. Don't you realize what's happened? Instead, that car drove by having no concept of it. And that movie captured that well. I'll give them that. I will absolutely give them all the credit in the world for capturing that. And the idea that this camera is just sitting on this body on a slab. I will give them that, 100%. And then he sits up. But he's, like, we spend maybe a minute and a half. Now some would say 2 or 3, but when you really think of it and you just start counting out silently, that was 10 seconds, okay? And I was going 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. That was probably a fast 10 seconds. Okay, so when it's going and you're like, nothing's happening, it's a lot longer than you think it is. But when she's eating a half a pie, it's not. It's not that. That's this movie. Nothing really happens, but stuff does. Like, the passage of time is messed up because he sees something and he starts to do something. Then he kind of turns, and there's a new family who's moved in. Then he turns to look the other way, and it's their Christmas decorations. Like, that's a cool idea where he's not really grasping the concept of time because it doesn't work anymore for him. He's just kind of there. Things escalate, and it's interesting in that sense, but then it kind of goes a cheap way out because it's like it's relative to a space. And they do a classic thing where they don't ever show you something, but you seeing it is not important. It's the achieving that is, so that's fine. That's no problem. I don't recommend this movie for anyone. Now, I know Matt Zion, my good friend over at Reckless Eating, loved Manchester by the Sea, loved Casey Affleck's performance in it as a man in a sheet. I don't know what there is to love about it. It's unique. But I still don't give it any more than like a half star out of 5 on the Letterboxd scale. I was thinking like 2 out of 10, which would be a full star, but no, there's some interesting shots. I'll give it that. It's well made in that aspect. There's no technical incompetence. They knew what they were doing. The production company was even called Scared Sheetless. So they have a sense of humor. They just didn't instill anything. Oh, God. There's a deleted scene on the DVD, which is absolutely integral to the movie. So I'm going to say right here, there's spoilers. I'm going to talk about that now. In the movie, we cut to the outside of the house, we see it again, and there's mists going around. And it pans over, and we see a car and a truck, or like an SUV, that hit it. And someone is kind of running up to look, and like, oh, what's going on? We can't know who it is, it's someone who's out there. And then we cut to the inside, and we see that it's Casey Affleck's character head on the steering wheel, and then we cut to the wife looking down in the morgue. Okay. The deleted scene is called C Makes Coffee, because he's called C and she's called M. It's one of those. It's Casey Affleck making coffee for 5 minutes. And he just kind of stands there, like looking at it, waiting for it for a bit. And he goes over on his laptop for a bit. And it's probably a 5-minute scene overall. Feels like 10. And honestly, I said, this could literally be Casey Affleck just making coffee on set and going over to read his script on that laptop, and they recorded it, and for all we know, that's literally it. Like, it didn't feel like anything that mattered, which is why it was cut. Then it goes outside and shows that house. I'm like, why? Okay. And then it pans over, and it shows the person running, and it's a car crash. And the door of the truck opens that hit the car. And a woman gets out, kind of sees, and it collapses, crying, broken. It's the wife. And then we cut and we see the close-up of Casey Affleck head in the steering wheel. And then the next cut is her face looking at the body in the morgue. Why would you cut that? Because the whole thing, I'm spoilery now, I don't normally do that, but I don't recommend seeing this movie, but she's going through life and he sees like her going on and moving on. She writes something down, puts it in a little spot in a door frame, and paints over it. And he spends time trying to get that out. And it's like he's withering away as different people come in and out of the house, and he spooks them, whatever. Just because they're angry, like, get out of my house kind of stuff. How dare you be happy here? Like, get off the piano and stuff. The movie's about him getting that. It's a ghost story. He's got to get that thing. We never see what it is. So it could be I love you. It could be goodbye. It could be I'm moving on. It could be I hope you're well. It could be I hate this place. Because there's a scene in the movie where like they're looking to move, and she's like, why do you care about this place? And he's like, well, there's history here. And she goes, there's not as much as you think. And yet the way the movie goes, there actually is more than they think. Because you see the history of the house and how it all started and stuff even. Like, it's stuff that he couldn't have known, but maybe he did. Maybe he knew about the legend, because there's an actual thing showing something being written and hidden under a rock. So maybe he told her because he liked that story, so she knew for him, just in a way like of closure. Write on it and put it in there, not realizing it would literally be closure for him. And if she's the one who did it, I think it obviously says, I'm sorry. So that infinitely makes the movie interesting and better because there's something to it, not just the utter nothingness. So I don't recommend a ghost story. If you want to see an experimental idea, which, like I said, is literally the ghost. Like, it's not Paranormal Activity style, obviously, of all this other crazy stuff, but it's the story of a ghost. Like, when you see the movie of the family and the ghost is doing stuff, rattling or whatever, you're following the ghost. Like, you saw who he was, you're seeing what brought him to this point, and what's going to happen after the family leaves. Like, it's that kind of thing. That's interesting. The execution is absolutely atrocious. So I do not recommend this movie. 1/2 star out of 5. It's a twofer, like I saw The Room tonight too, and that's, yeah. GuiltyPleasureCinema.com on YouTube and everything. Cyclops Scott, that is. Please like and favorite and all that fun stuff, and subscribe. It's been interesting lately, but don't watch a ghost story. There's literally nothing guilty pleasurous about it, aside from the neighbor. That's the one interesting part. We like the neighbor. The neighbor's fun. And the realtor was amazing. She was fun too in her one brief moment. So that's that. Don't watch that movie. If you did like it, please let me know why. Because I can also understand why people would like parts of it, but I want to sit next to that critic just raving over the scene where she eats pie for 10 minutes and explaining to me why it needed to be 10. When you can get the point across in 5. This could be a 7-minute animated Pixar short and tell this exact same story with loss and movement and everything. Also, it was rated R. I don't know why. Weird. Anyway, that's that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.